Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, I'm the Spiffing Brit, and today we are looking at my favorite top 10 exploits from 2019. What a fantastic year it was for the video game community. We had so many fantastic releases, so many fantastic updates, but most importantly, those updates brought exploits. There were so many great exploits this year, and so naturally it is up to myself, the self-proclaimed British Lord of video game exploitation, to list off my favorite 10, which if you missed, my goodness, you should go and read up on. So yes, I'm going to list my 10 favorite exploits to you, the lovely ladies and gentlemen at home. So without further ado, make sure you're sat back, you're relaxed, you have a nice warm cup of tea, and you've saluted that glorious picture of the Queen you have hanging above your computer. So, number 10, what do we have? Well, this is the Epic Games Launcher exploit. It's an exploit which I would imagine most of you have not heard of, due to the fact that it was exceedingly buried under a large quantity of red tape, because of course the company which runs the Epic Games Launcher has a lot of money. They were not happy when a couple of game publishers started releasing news articles about the Epic Games Launcher exploit. So what was the exploit? Basically, it allowed anyone to have access to every single game on the Epic Games Launcher for free. Quite simply, all you needed to have was one Epic Games account with every game, or just a game which, say, one of your friends wanted. And all you'd have to do is have them log onto your computer, download their game which you don't own, and just have them play it once and then immediately close it down. Let's turn this into a hypothetical situation. Let's say I buy myself Cyberpunk 2077, and my friend, who would absolutely love to play Cyberpunk 2077, doesn't have the money to buy the game. But fear not, as I already own it, I just have to log onto his computer, sign into my Epic Games account, simply just have the computer register that, oh yes, I have the game on my account, and then sign it out so that he can have a go. But then suddenly the game is registered as being purchased to his account as well, and then he can log on to any other computer with his account and pass the game on. Effectively, what this means is the Epic Games Launcher created a situation where, say, only one copy of the Untitled Goose Game would need to be purchased for the entire world to have it for free. Not exactly a good situation for those lovely game developers who lost out on a ridiculous amount of money, but what's even more impressive is the amount of game developers who never got to hear about the amount of money they lost out on. Oh, Epic Games Launcher. But you know what's better than exploits for games launchers? It is of course an exploit for a video game itself. Now my number 9 favorite exploit of the year would have to be the Tropico 6 Unlimited Pineapple exploit. Tropico 6 is a lovely colony management game. So many people play it, yet so many people have missed out on this glorious gem of a city builder and dictatorship simulator. The game is pretty simple. You start out your colony generally in the colonial era, where you're effectively a humble servant of the crown, building up a colony of peoples and trying to just simply grow and survive. There are of course many resources which need to be gathered, be they food, coal, iron, all that fantastic stuff, but one resource was slightly more overpowered than others: the humble pineapple, ladies and gentlemen. For you see, the pineapple plantation had a special modifier where it would increase the production of all other plantations within a small radius by a small percentage. Now this is actually perfectly balanced, it made perfect sense. However, there was one slight issue. The game developers forgot to set a range to just how far one pineapple plantation can increase production, and so the range lasted the entire island colony. This meant you could have one pineapple plantation on one side of your colony and one on the other, set them both to increase production, and both would see a large uptick in their production. Now, with just 2 pineapple plantations, you wouldn't really notice this. However, in our fantastic video on the subject, we decided to build, I think, roughly 50 pineapple plantations. The following result was that pineapple plantations, even in areas of zero fertility, would be able to grow roughly 4 million pineapples a second. It completely destroyed the economy of the game because we could just export an unlimited quantity of pineapples to every single world power. There's only one thing that game was missing: the glorious, amazing tea leaf. Which reminds me of the glorious, refreshing taste of Yorkshire Tea Gold. That's right, special thanks to Yorkshire Tea for not sponsoring today's video. Make sure to grab yourself a cup of the greatest brew in the entire universe. Trust me, you've earned it in this fantastic year of exploitation. But what's next? Oh, it's number 8. Well, it would have to come along with the release of the brand new Total War game, Total War 3 Kingdoms. Well, so I wouldn't exactly say it goes up there in my all-time favorite Total War games, like say the original Rome and Medieval 2, and the brand new Warhammer ones. I'd say Total War 3 Kingdoms was certainly a very solid game. However, there was one slight issue. Those game developers forgot to look at those percentages, as they left in an exploit which allowed you to stack up modifiers which reduced the cost of cavalry. What this led to was effectively, in our glorious video, was unlimited armies of free horses. You could effectively take over and conquer the entire world almost instantaneously with a Mongolian horde of crazily overpowered yet perfectly free horses. Oh, it was fantastic. And honestly, in my opinion, it's the one true way to play a Total War game. I love Total War exploits. There are so many. There's some glorious ones for the original Rome, for Rome 2. Oh, they are just downright amazing. And hey, if you want to see more, you know what you need to do. Oh, just give me a shout. And I'm more than happy to play more Total War games. Anyway, onwards to number 7. The 7th best exploit of 2019 would of course have to be the glorious game of Mordhau. It's effectively Chivalry, but it was actually better, more fun, and had a bit more of an active community, or at least up until a couple of months ago, because everyone seems to have forgotten about the game. Rest in peace, Mordhau. You could say it was a bit of a flash-in-the-pan success, and pan is certainly the apt word, because our glorious exploit for Mordhau involved a copious amounts of pan. You see, almost every single map that game had huge glaring issues. Either you'd be able to clip out of the terrain, or you'd be able to escape the boundaries, and by doing so you can put yourself in a position where you can attack players but they can't fight back. Some of my favorites included being able to phase into the wall of a map and shoot out of it using effectively a mounted crossbow semi-automatic machine gun. It was fantastic, but most importantly, perfectly balanced. But what's next? Oh, it's the number 6th best exploit of 2019. This is sadly not a game, and actually it's something we covered recently in the Black Friday sale. This is the G2A loot boxes exploit. It was quite a fun little exploit where basically, due to the way the game launcher decided to release its keys in a loot box fashion, the RNG of it was rigged into effectively almost guaranteeing a profit or break-even situation. Now, whilst I 100% do not condone the use of loot boxes, and especially I do not condone the use of loot boxes when actually selling someone a game, I most certainly did enjoy slightly scamming G2A in this situation. But what personally made this exploit so entertaining for me in 2019 was that following the release of our video, evidently someone at G2A got the message, because the loot box website actually immediately went down not 5 minutes after our video went live, and they didn't put it up until the following day. What a glorious success that was for our exploiting community. Whilst I take absolutely no pride in shutting down a game, shutting down G2A, however, was certainly all about pleasure. Although interestingly, about a week later I received a letter from their lawyer who evidently was not too happy with some of the things I said in my video. Well, nonetheless, I didn't take any of it seriously, but thanks for taking the time, G2A, to reach out and talk to me. I'm sure you absolutely love the publicity of your very shady marketing skills. Anyway, we're halfway through our glorious list of exploits from 2019. You know what, I'm going to do that shameless plug thing because you know I have to. The Queen would be upset otherwise. I'd like to offer this as the perfect time to go refill your cup of tea. But also, if you have been enjoying this list of exploits, then hey, why not consider giving this video a like? One like is said to exploit your lifespan. Be warned, liking Spiffing Brit videos may or may not accidentally toggle on immortality/god mode. The exact quantity of likes on Spiffing Brit videos required is completely unknown, but by all means, you're more than welcome to find out. And so, number 5. Oh, the 5th best exploit of 2019. Now, this was an exploit I actually saw coming as soon as I saw the release of the brand new Fortnite update. And the reason we didn't get a video on it is because it's a Fortnite exploit. Now, whilst personally I know I shouldn't really have anything against the game, it's just not a game that I enjoy. I don't have anything against the people that do enjoy Fortnite, because at the end of the day, it's going to get a lot of people into this glorious online PC gaming community. However, I just personally can't stand playing the game. Sorry guys. However, there was a glorious Fortnite exploit which flew under a lot of radars as well in the fantastic Epic Games cover-up style. However, at least this one they did publicly address and do a little bit of an apology for. Basically, in the release of effectively Fortnite 2, the game developers added in a kind of swampy area, and it had a gimmick where basically it would heal you. When you entered the swamp, you'd receive like an instantaneous 10 bonus health, and then for almost every, I think it was 5 seconds you were in there, you'd receive a small amount of health. A lovely basic mechanic, nothing too crazy, certainly nothing on paper which could be exploited. However, that's where the game developers made a mistake. You see, in Fortnite you can build stairs, you can build walls, and you can ram them together. And players soon discovered that actually if you built a set of stairs in the correct location, you could run continuously inside and out of the swamp. By doing so, you'd reset the tick of the instantaneous 10 health points, and so you'd be continuously gaining 10 health over and over and over again. Now, if you were in, say, a gunfight, this is completely useless because someone can shoot at you and destroy your wall, and suddenly you don't gain the health. However, in true Battle Royale fashion, there is a circle which you have to get into. If you don't get into the circle, you are outside of the circle and continuously taking damage. It's not enough to immediately kill you, but it will kill you very quickly. And so this means you have to get in the circle, unless you're actually sat over in the swamp area running against a flight of stairs to instantaneously gain immortality. What this led to was a bunch of players who would get to the final circle, fight amongst themselves, and then the player who would be hoping to win would notice there's one last person somewhere out there, but they're not in the final circle, and they will never be getting to the final circle. And so the game will effectively end when the circle just closes completely and the second to last person either quits out of the game or is killed by the ultimate final circle, leaving our fantastic friend sat in the swampy climate gaining immortality to win every single game they enter. What a fantastic little exploit that was. And as you can probably guess, these exploits are hotting up. We're getting to the really good ones. My fourth best exploit of 2019 is honestly quite an interesting one. It's less of a single exploit and more just this entire game. I am of course talking about the lovely Borderlands 3, a game which offers a narrative and gameplay experience almost like no other. It's your classic looter shooter but with a big focus on story and characters and so on. Personally, it's not exactly my cup of tea, but it certainly is one of the best-selling games of the year. There was just one slight issue. Literally everything in the game could be exploited. It almost offered every single exploit from previous games rolled up into one easy bundle for anyone to access. Borderlands 3 had an exploit for immortality, which I showed off. It also recently, in a Halloween update, added an exploit which allowed you to effectively get a stack overflow of damage, meaning you could one-hit every single enemy in the game instantaneously. They also have infinite health regen exploits. They have a bunch of map exploits where you can jump in and out of boss battles. They have a load of crazy OP XP farm exploits, allowing you to almost instantaneously level up a character, and they also had at release a bunch of crazy unbalanced characters. You could basically pick from a group of heroes, but some of them were just so much better than all the others. It led to a very interesting situation where a large amount of people just almost gave up, restarted the game as a much better character, which is a bit of a shame. But nonetheless, Borderlands 3 hasn't been abandoned, it continues to receive updates. However, almost every single update, whilst it might fix one exploit, it generally introduces another one. So thank you game developers for keeping the exploit community alive and very fresh indeed. But what's next? Oh, it's Prison Architect. Now, Prison Architect, it's not exactly a game released in 2019, but it did have a couple of exploits in 2019 which were definitely my favorite. Of course, a fantastic turning point for this channel was the glorious tree-only Prison Architect exploit. It was less of an actual abuse of game mechanics and more just a funny way which no one particularly expected anyone playing Prison Architect to do. Instead of building a prison, you instead just build a tree farm, and you can make a ridiculous amount of money, and also you do so at much less of an actual hassle. When it comes to things like prisoner management, you have to make sure that prisoners aren't killing each other, stabbing each other, or just trying to escape. When it comes to managing a tree farm, you don't really have to worry about any of that. No. What's even better is you can set up a tea plantation as well. Goodness, I love what you can do with mods. But the other exploit for Prison Architect which I really enjoyed this year was the share price manipulation exploit. These share price manipulation exploits exist in a lot of games like OpenTTD, and generally most tycoon businessy management games. Basically, you're doing insider trading. Basically, what you do is you buy a bunch of shares in your own company when your company is at a pretty normal price. Then you artificially inflate the value of your company and sell all of your shares. Suddenly, you've made a tidy profit, but you can only do it once. What you then do is artificially decrease the value of your company and then buy all of those shares back at a much lower cost, and then increase and sell and decrease and buy. You repeat this process indefinitely and you'll end up with infinite money. In the case of Prisoner Architect, one of the values which was very important when it comes to share price calculation, is the prisoner capacity of a prison. You don't actually need any prisoners in the prison, but what you do need is to have an increasing amount of prisoner capacity. This can be done by simply having one massive cell, filling it just with a bunch of empty beds, and just toggling it on and off as being a cell. And there you go, that's the answer to infinite money production, which will always often lead you to many more exploits in a game. But hey, we're getting close to the end now, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for the second best exploit of 2019. Personally, for me, oh my goodness, what a great year it's been. It's the Civ 6 exploit. I actually may or may not have another Civ 6 exploit video on the way, as I discovered a couple of strange new things in the game which could definitely be exploited, but we're not talking about the future, we're talking about the glorious past. And in Civ 6 this year, we've discovered exploits for infinite resources, unlimited gold, and also free units. And also as of late, we've discovered unlimited science and unlimited settlers. Oh, it's been a fantastic mix. There are so many glorious exploits out there for Civ 6 at the moment, and hey, what better way to give an exploit a spin than to load up your copy of Civ 6, invite a friend along who you've not played with for a long time, and watch them cry as you wail away using unlimited power with absolutely no counter. Watch as your friendship is destroyed as you steamroll them with an army of completely upgraded, supremely overpowered units which you got completely and utterly for free. Oh, I love Civ 6. What a game. It's so much fun. But finally, the biggest and best exploit of 2019 in my opinion is of course the Steam Summer Sale exploit. This will effectively forever probably be known as my best video in terms of not only viewers but also the actual impact it had on the online community. The Steam Summer Sale exploit started off as a pretty simple affair. Quite simply, it showed the fastest way to generate the Steam Summer Sale points. Now in terms of an exploit, that first video wasn't necessarily too powerful. Sure, it meant that people could level up their Steam accounts really quickly, but to level it up even higher, you needed to actually spend money. So whilst many people now have a Steam account over level 100, which they previously would not have had, many people struggle to get above that barrier. Well, that's where the second Steam Summer Sale exploit came in. And also this was the big one which actually cost me something dear to myself, but I'll explain that later. Basically, the second step of the Steam Summer Sale exploit was to buy and sell keys for games. You could buy a bunch of keys for Team Fortress 2, and this would increase the cap of Steam Summer Sale points you could have. But then you could sell the TF2 keys back, and you'd still keep your increase in the point cap for the Steam Summer Sale. So what you could effectively do is buy £250 worth of TF2 keys, have your Steam Summer Sale point cap risen by several thousand points, then do the first exploit to generate all those points instantly, and then spend those points leveling up your Steam account to, I don't know, level 3000. One person who did the exploit sent me an image later on of their Steam account. I think it was somewhere around about 1000. Now what you could then do after raising your point cap is you could just sell the TF2 keys on the marketplace or onto a third-party website and effectively get all of your money back. Some people even made a tidy profit on the whole thing. So it was a bit of a kerfuffle at the expense of Steam, especially because people could buy a bunch of £5 vouchers and use that to get crazy discounts on video games at the cost of effectively nothing. However, as I mentioned, I lost something very dear to myself because of this. Following my glorious Steam Summer Sale exploit video, evidently someone at Valve was not too happy with what I'd done and decided to basically report my PayPal account. And sadly, PayPal decided to take it upon themselves to destroy my PayPal account. It's completely gone. They banned it. Yeah. Rest in peace, PayPal account. So whilst I really did enjoy doing the Steam Summer Sale exploit, it did indeed cost me a fair amount, but it was good fun to get it out there nonetheless. So there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. That has been my top 10 exploits of 2019. It's been a fantastic year. We've managed to go from 100,000 subscribers to 1 million in the space of less than a year, which has been absolutely crazy. But most importantly, we have you, the lovely ladies and gentlemen at home who watch these videos. We've created a glorious community of tea drinkers, and of people who drink coffee but pretend they drink tea. It's created a very nice group of people who will go down into the comment sections and have lovely chats with each other. Genuinely, nothing warms my heart better than loading up one of my own videos and scrolling down and just seeing genuine human beings being really nice to each other. Thank you very much if you've ever done that. And there we have it. If you have indeed enjoyed today's video and you would like to see more of these sorts of things, then by all means, give the video a like. If you have a video game which you'd like to see me exploit, give me a shout. Hop down to the comments section. And hey, if you want to see more of the legendary Spiffing Brit in your sub feed, then why not subscribe? And heck, can even press this bell button. Nobody knows what it does. YouTube doesn't even know what it does anymore. It's crazy. Maybe it's an exploit. Who knows? As always, a massive thank you to each and every one of my glorious patrons who you will see on screen now. These fantastic sausages have taken it upon themselves to effectively bankroll these videos, so thank you very much, you lovely, generous people. And hey, if you're sat there wondering what video you'd like to watch next, then look no further than this one on screen now. I've chosen it because you've probably enjoyed this video, and if you have, then I'm gonna hazard a guess and say you'll also enjoy this next one. Anyway, I'll see each and every one of you in the next one. Have an absolutely lovely day, and goodbye for now.